Hey, what's up guys? This is Nevin here, and in this video I'm just going to be going kind of a overall walkthrough, a setup guide to Autobidder. I'm going to try to make this video relatively short, although I have a few videos similar to this one. I just want to kind of take it from the very start. If you've never used Autobidder before, you have no idea what it does or how it works, I just want to give you a quick little rundown, walkthrough, touch on some of the basic stuff, and then I'm going to have a bunch of other videos going off of this video. So the rest of this day, I'm putting out a bunch of videos. And some of the later tutorials, I'll be showing you how to connect to your CRM. And in this example, I'll be using Mark8, but I might see if I can use Jobber too. I'll sign up for a free trial with Jobber and show you how it would work there. And then I'm also going to show you how to automate text messages with Autobidder as well. And that'll be in the next video. So, and this most of these integrations, most of these automations are going to be using Zapier, which is a free service. Most of the stuff you'll need it for, if you've never used it before, never heard of it, is free. You only need to pay if you start using more advanced features, which you don't really need, but you might determine that they're worth it. So, anyways, let's go ahead and get right in. So I just created an account. Literally a minute before I turned on this video. So this is a totally blank slate. There are no services added. As you see, it's totally empty. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to the Calibrate page. We're going to click Add a Service. And what I'm going to do is import a template because it's a little bit easier. And right now, there's about 10 templates here, so give or take. They're going to be a lot more. And, you see how some of them are listed as simple. There's going to be a lot more being added as time goes on, as I make more tutorials and stuff, more advanced options, more simple. So you'll have the choice, not only the services you want to add, but do you want to add a simple calculation, which I recommend, or do you want to go advanced? So let's just choose house washing simple. And then again, we just got to name it and choose an icon. Now you can choose from our library of icons here. Again, we're going to be adding more to this, so it just depends when you see it. This may look a little different. Or you can just choose to upload your own template or your own icon if you'd prefer. All right. Now we're just going to wait, and you're going to see it's going to import the questions one by one. So there we go. We got the questions for house washing. Now, if you want to, you can just go turn it on real quick and dive right in and test it out. So I'm going to keep the lead collector off so that I don't have to fill out the lead info. So let's go enter some basic information. Let's say it's a small house, 160 bucks, 800 square foot house. Okay, so one other thing that I did not do, I usually, when I'm testing out, I like to set the color scheme. So I'll come to design and I'll choose the form color, and I'll just make it something a little bit more visually appealing. So then now you see we got that blue turquoise color. This is nice because you can make this whatever color best fits your company. And then, so we'll just test this again. Instead of 800, we put 1400. And now you see that price goes up a little bit. So that's just a brief rundown of the setup, adding a service. Again, if you want to add another service, let's say we also want to do roof cleaning here. And we choose the icon. If you want to offer a service that we don't currently have a template for, that's where you would need to take a little bit of time and try to build out your formula. And I will admit, the hardest part of using Autobidder is creating the pricing formula, because the answers aren't always easy. They're not always obvious. So you do have to be a little bit creative in terms of thinking it through and really just giving people choices. Like, you need to make a choice. Basically the way you structure Autobidder, present it to your customers, is you force them to make choices, which can be slightly difficult. So, just one thing to keep in mind. But I think once you get the formula part figured out, it's a lot easier. And then, that's why we have so many templates to kind of make that easier for a lot of you guys. We also have a service where we will build it out for you. If you don't know how to do it, or if you struggle, whatever, then we have a service where we can set the pricing for you, basically. Right. So that's how that would work. We'll touch on the stats page. When you first create an account, this is all going to be empty. So this isn't really going to be useful until you've been using it for like a week or so, and then you start getting some data to populate here. So of course, this is all going to be empty. Leads, this is also going to start off empty. Calendar page, it's all pretty much going to start off empty. But one thing you do want to do if you want to turn on booking, yeah, you don't have to do this, but if you want to turn on your booking, you just need to come to calendar settings, give your calendar a name. You can call it whatever makes the most sense for you. We'll go by hours here, and then we set our availability. So Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6, but we might want to change this to 5. Um, and again, you can make this whatever interval or whatever you want it to be. And then the interval, since I selected hours, we'll just go 2 hours. Oops. All right. So then whenever you turn on your booking, people can only book between those time frames, 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock, 2-hour intervals in between. So, I think that's pretty common sense right there. So that's how that would work. The settings page is this is basically how you're going to connect your app to other services, whether it be your website or your CRM or text message automation with SendGrid or Twilio, or email automation with MailChimp. This is where a lot of this is going to handle. So you got your embed code. This is where you're going to embed your Autobidder form on your website. You got your landing page link, which is pretty simple. If you want to simplify the process, you just use that. And then if you click here, this is where we've got our integrations. Now, some of these are pre-built integrations that you can just click in, and I'm going to dive into this a little bit later. Connecting to ClickSend, which is what you use to send automated text messages. You can also use Twilio and other apps for that too, but I like SendGrid. QuickBooks, everyone knows QuickBooks. I think a lot of people use QuickBooks, so it just makes sense to have that integrated. Jobber, of course, not everyone, but a lot of people use Jobber as well. And then sending emails with Gmail. There's lots of different ways to send email. You can use MailChimp. You can use SendGrid. There's so many options with email, but I would just keep it simple. And then, again, there's going to be more tutorials for each of those things. So that is kind of an super broad bird's eye overview. Again, there's so many things we can get into in the details of building out the formulas. So, I'll just touch on that real quick. You see, for roof cleaning, we have 4 questions we're asking. If we wanted to add another question, or you could also call this a variable, you'd simply add it. You have 5 input types to choose from. You've got images, base numbers, drop downs, sliders, and multiple choice. My personal favorite, and I would try to stick to this as much as possible, is the images, because the images gives you more freedom and flexibility to make the form look really cool. Because you can use realistic images, you can use graphics, you can use icons, you can use things to make your form look and feel better. Base numbers are nice for things like square footage, square footage of a house, and things like that. Drop downs are pretty good option too. If it's something like, does your house have a walkout basement, or a yes no type of question, then drop downs are a good choice in my opinion. They take up less space than the images. They can be cleaner. You don't get as much control over design, obviously, because a drop down is a drop down, so it doesn't look as custom, but it still looks good. Slider is pretty obvious. You choose 2 numbers and then the increment. So between 1 and 10, increments of 1. A user could pick any number between 1 and 10. If you do 1 and 100, increments of 10, then it would 10, 20, 30, so on and so forth. So that's how the slider works. Multiple choice works pretty much the exact same way as the images. However, the difference is there's no image. So image selection is basically a multiple choice where they can choose 1 or more options. Or you can limit it to 1, whereas with this one, there's just no images displayed. So that's the main difference there. Once you select an input type, then you've got your formula type. So with your formula type, you've got multiplier, addition, and subtraction. I'll say 90% of the time you're going to be needing to use multiplier. Don't really use addition. Don't really use subtraction. I threw it in there because there might be some use cases where, somebody might need to use it, and I didn't want people to feel limited. However, with all the templates that I've done, it's almost all multiplier. Basically, 0 subtraction and very little addition. So just keep that in mind. That might simplify things for you a little bit. We are working on an advanced calculation, which I'm not entirely sure how long it'll be. We have a few things that we have to get through before we actually get that done. So the advanced calculation is going to be really cool because it'll allow you to have more control over the order operations, adjusting where the parentheses are, adjusting, stuff like that. So um, that is something that we've come in. Probably not going to be here until January though, but it's not. That's one of those features that's only going to be necessary for 10-20% of our users who are doing super advanced, like deep calculations or whatever, which most people aren't doing that. That'd be more so for super expensive services too, like you're doing a bathroom remodel or something, or something with lots and lots of variables that could dictate the price. There will be some more control over that. Anyhow, a little bit of a tangent, but did want to touch on that. And then in the next few videos, I'm going to do a deep dive into the logic panel. There's a lot you can do here, and we're adding more pretty much every week, it seems. Same with the design tab. We've got a lot. This is going to be looking a lot different here in a couple of weeks. This is going to look really, really cool. But I'm going to do a deep dive into each of these pages, and then I'll show you a little bit more about how this whole system works. But this was just a bird's eye overview as to how this works.